Anonymous. I'm Lisa. They call me GLoLady. And if you saw me on the Mad Scientist tea party right before this started, that's what made me late.
Yeah, blame the tea.
That's it. I sat down and I had a cup of tea and I didn't get to pee.
Uh-oh, we're in trouble. Look, we have a kind of a cute little shadow, don't we?
Yeah, but you'll have this. It's just one of those days. Yeah, he's going to have some photographs that are going up behind us eventually. I just have photographs because I tried, and even though Mercury's going direct.
As of yesterday, but it takes a few days to get the motion going.
Oh, it does.
So it's just starting back. We'll be great next week.
Yeah.
It'll be perfect.
But I tried. I tried to get the background and it was aggravating. So I'm like, okay, that's it. Forget it. I'm not gonna do it. So I have some pictures on a CD. So that's what we're gonna be seeing a little bit later on. Well, that's what is planned. And I think that you guys know by now that what I plan is not always what it is.
I wasn't warned about this when we met. No. You kidding? I've always lived by the fly by the seat of my pants. That's the only way to survive. We've discussed that.
Yeah.
If we get worked up over every little thing that we thought was supposed to go a certain way, forget it.
I know.
No
we
way.
We drive ourselves crazy all
we
the time.
don't. We just laugh and say, oh well, we're not doing that. Oh well.
That's it.
You know why? Yesterday on Oprah, Dr. Oz said stress is the number one factor in aging, and we're not stressed. We don't care. Do you care?
Well, no, it's
we
not,
care, but
yeah.
We're not stressed over it.
No.
We just have to let it go.
We're just winging the show. We're just having a good time, and we're just watching Carl as he's running mad, trying to get it all together for us. Carl Catterjohn. That is correct, right, Carl?
That is correct.
Okay. He's the master at the helm. Matt couldn't be here today. I heard that he was ill.
Oh.
And also the tool girl.
Was it my cooking last week that got him?
No.
Was it? No good.
No. That's what happens when you run around and you don't take care of yourself. You wear yourself out.
Yep. Do too much.
So yeah. So that's why he's not. She's not. She was going to the doctor. And she was going to come if she can make it. But one of those hallelujah tips for healthy living is drink plenty of water. It doesn't have to be any certain brand other than good water. Tap water isn't the greatest. Oh, excuse me.
See how well I listen?
Do me a favor, take it.
Oh, okay. Yes, water is good. I have to drink lots of water. Keeps everything moving, flowing. Keeps you healthy. That's it. Number one, water. And
but without the fluoride and the chlorine, because fluoride and the chlorine really aren't good. They really aren't good for you.
But how?
There were some studies. What was it with fluoride in the water?
I think
where
in New
it was
Jersey
used
had it.
for a mind control type of.
Oh.
And that's one of the things that's going to be dealing with today's topic. Today's topic on Star Children, and the mind control. I'm sure that everybody out there is going to relate to this somehow, because even though you might not have a child, you were a child, and the upbringing of a child and how important it is, and what you do, what you say. A child learns what they live. So that's what today's topic's going to be. Trying to get a couple of things together, and it didn't come. And someone had seen a couple of the previous shows, and he had said, Lisa, if you want to be taken serious, then you have to be serious. So that's why, everything just fell into place for doing a show with children. And then Kim and I were talking this morning, and it was like, that's a great thing. I love my co-host.
Oh, I love you.
One of the great things about her is like, okay, what's the subject? What's the topic?
What are we going to yak about?
That's it. That's it. And we were on the phone for over an hour today. It's like, we already had our show.
We should just tape our phone conversations and get it back, because it just flows so smoothly when we're on the phone.
I know, really.
So we are going to talk about children and raising them, and how you treat them is how they turn out, and what happens to special children. They're way more sensitive nowadays. I mean, everybody's sensitive, but it's even more and more, right?
There's a lot of children born today who are highly intuitive. They are, as Sylvia Brown says, psychic children. And I remember when I was a little girl, and there was another boy and I got in trouble in second grade, and we couldn't go see a movie, and I had said, no big deal, I'm going to watch the movie, at the corner of my glasses. And he goes, you can't do that. And it was like, I was serious, because I, used to see more than what I do now, where things were going on. And how many children tell you about their imaginary playmates?
Children are so aware of it. They really do. It's just we ruin them by telling them it's not real.
Right.
They even had that on Montel today. That woman, she was a channel psychic, and she said as a child nobody believed her. She'd say her grandfather was in the room talking to her, or that was something else. Oh, yeah. That was a woman in the audience who didn't believe her.
Hey, I'm going to hold on a minute. Hey, can you shut the studio door?
We don't want.
There we go. We had some over top of last week, and I'll tell you what, these lights are hot. Are you hot?
Not as hot as you are.
I know. I even took some stuff today for a hot flash.
Oh, well, grin and bear it. You'll be fine.
I know. Okay. It's not a hot flash. It's a power surge, and I guess it's that
that
hot
is
tea.
It's a power surge.
I know. Really powerful. But it was really interesting. I don't know how many of you guys watched Montel today. Kim and I were yakking, so we really didn't get to see the whole thing, but they were talking about the 2012 prophecy. And the 2012 prophecy is just one of the ancient spiritual texts that are talking about Revelation, the Hopi, the Mayan, the Holy Bible. You look at many of your ancient spiritual texts, and they all talk about the end times. And yes, I do channel the earth changes, and I foresee certain events that are coming in and taking place. But it's not to look at these things with fear.
Right.
It's with understanding. Okay, we live on a living, breathing organism, our Mother Earth, and that's one of those things last week with the witches, which is so important because they honor the goddess, the mother, our Mother Earth, and that's what a big part, misconception is, with oh well, they don't believe in God, they believe in the goddess, and it's like, yeah, our Mother Earth. Our Father in heaven, we have a heaven and we have an earth. And another one of the things is with Jesus. I mean, let's talk about, let's talk about Jesus Christ. Do you know that they also say about him being a star child?
No. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I would assume that would be pretty obvious, don't you? They
Oh,
just
yeah.
didn't use that language then.
Right. Well, that's just one of the new things now. It's like he came from outer space,
They're opening a lot of different schools for children now. And they're not saying, oh, these are for star children or psychic children. They're just really super sensitive. And if you can't handle a regular school system, there's one right in Asheville. I think there's two. A rainbow school just opened up for kids that are really need more one-on-one because they are overwhelmed by everything around them because they're so sensitive.
Right.
You know, I have one son my kids are like that, but one who in particular who had like that in school. He felt everything. They really do taste more. More pain. They feel more pain. Everything. And that's really a sign. If people get upset and they call them little wimps or little babies, it's not really it. They're really, really sensitive to the environment.
Right.
Super sensitive. They feel everything that goes on around them.
I have a Star Seed Identification Questionnaire.
Oh, good.
Now, this has come from Dr. Boylan. Dr. Boylan, he's been doing a study with these children for quite a few years. Look on the internet, Dr. Boylan, BoylanDr.com, and you can download one of these questionnaires yourself. But it has a score of 12. If you say, yes to 12 of these or more, then, probably, going up to absolutely. And it's like the child has a larger than average head for his or her age and height, especially in the front or top. The child has average body temperature below 97.6. Child's birth was notable for there being strange presence or figure in the delivery room, or an aura or glow noted around the child or the crib. The child began saying words clearly by 6 months of age, at least 1 year before the average age of 18 months, began walking by by 1/2 year. When the child began speaking, he used phrases or whole sentence, not just simple words.
Hold on a minute. Walking by half a year? 6 months
6
old?
months.
Wow.
This is one of.
My one son walked at 8 months, and that was a big deal.
Right.
But
Right.
it wasn't the same. They all have a couple of those so far. Go ahead.
Well, no, there's right, and there's a lot of things. That's what I was saying about going on, drboylan.com and understanding this, because it's so important to understand that these children today are special children. They're here basically to. I mean, that's what's going to save the world. That's definitely what's going to save the world. And we don't know what to do with these children, so a lot of times we give them drugs.
Right. Because
know?
they don't seem right. Because they're
No.
not. I know 2 people right this year alone whose kids were put on medication because they couldn't cope in school. And it wasn't coping.
Right.
It was just ultra sensitive.
Ultra
really having a hard
sensitive,
time with their environment.
Yeah, and they're learning. They need to learn in a different way. That's a big.
So
big
they're calling
part
them
of it.
nervous, they're calling them anxious, or ADD, or what is it?
ADHD,
ADHD.
and whatever label that you want to put on the kids. That's it's there are other alternative medications. You don't have to
Right.
put them on one of the pharmaceutical medications. There are other holistic.
Just meditating.
Just
if we can get them to
meditating.
meditate. Even Dr. Oz said that yesterday. Meditation. Best way to reduce stress.
And how do you meditate?
That's it. Yep. Unless you want to stick a cork in your mouth. He was sticking a cork in. Open your mouth this wide. I don't want to do that on TV. It's bad enough. It does something to open up the area.
That's it. But there's so much. The child's gaze is unusually mature and penetrating, knowing. The child mentioned recalling his or her other parents out among the stars, or expressed a longing to go back to his or her real home. Ever since I was a child, it's like I would go out and I would talk.
Really?
I would all the time. I mean, I'm definitely a star child. I answered yes.
I think you're a star adult.
I am. I'm an adult starseed, as they call it. In childhood, the child sought out more advanced activities, being bored with and under challenged by the games that other children his or her age wanted to play. And that's a big part in school too.
Right.
A lot of the kids, we have a lot of really, really smart children, but because of the teaching, they're bored in school.
Really bored.
Yeah.
And that's why the video games are so popular, because it keeps their mind going. At least
it's stimulating.
It's stimulating because they're so wired so unbelievably. I mean, I have no use for them, but it's amazing.
Well, right, but they can get into it and they feel at home instead of out living in society where it's like, oh, you're not normal.
Right. Oh, yeah.
That's a big part of,
I know.
It's like, they think that you're not normal, and I know how I felt growing up. I was very uncomfortable, growing up, because I felt different then.
Right.
I really, really felt different. I went to school and I learned what I needed to learn, and that was, that was okay with me. I mean, remember, I was going to get married and have kids and live on a farm. What do I need that stuff for?
You do have a pair of overalls, don't you?
Oh yeah.
You're going to build a rocket? I don't know. For myself, it was, it's like you said, environment, upbringing, so I don't really know. I know I was really sensitive to everything going on, and I lived in a not great neighborhood in the South Bronx. So I was intimidated and scared, so I really kept, didn't go there. As far as you say, psychically, you knew immediately. I don't think I did.
Well, I really didn't know that I was different.
Oh.
I didn't know how different I was.
Right.
I didn't talk about a lot of things.
Right.
Or I would say, oh, well, I knew this or I knew that. And it's like, yeah.
Well, they tell you you're strange.
Oh, yeah, I am.
I mean, But now, I mean, I know for my own daughter now, because I'm so into and open with this, she tells me all her dreams and, you know, what she thinks, and she'll tell me, I woke up and there were flowers everywhere. And I go, what happened to the flowers? Like, she really felt flowers all around her. I mean, she just opens up and tells me this. I mean, I try to get her to tell me them first thing in the morning. And that's what everybody should do to really help their kids, really talk to them, get them to talk to you about everything and
But
be
there
open
again,
about it.
it's how do we get to that point?
You have to start young.
And there again, you know, we're talking about everybody, so not everybody had a good childhood.
Oh, I know. We know that.
And it's like, yeah, well, we're going to say, hey, we understand that childhood deal. And yeah, it took me over 40 years to, you know,
Me
get
too.
all the trash out of my head, you know, of not being good enough. And you know, you're not good enough unless you do what someone else thinks you should do.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And that's that genius that hinges on insanity only when you're not true to yourself. You know, I mean, that insanity hinges, you know, on the genius
Right.
because you are trying to listen to everybody else
Right.
tell you what they think you should be. And it's not.
Oh, to this day they try.
You too?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Oh, they, you know,
Don't you find that?
I'm the
Why are you doing this?
outcast.
Why are you doing that? What are you doing that? Aren't you crazy? You're this, you're that. You're never going to make it. You're going to lose this. You're going to do... I mean, never
Right.
ends.
Right.
So I just do it and prove them wrong and do it again and prove them wrong.
Yeah, well, I'd rather be happy than right.
Oh, I know, but I just do it and it always works out the way I always think it's going to. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But then you've learned, as we both have, we've taught ourselves.
Forget it took till my 40s to even start. Mm-hmm. I agree.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
But that
to
was
get a
from a
lot of
childhood
garbage.
of being really, I mean, I was afraid to talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
You too, right?
I
I
kept
know.
so
It was
many things
scary.
to myself. Well, I couldn't. Who did I have to talk to? And it's like I couldn't write it in a diary because my brother and sister gave my mommy my diary when I was 12, and it took me a
know.
long time before I started writing down on paper anything anymore.
If we can do anything for anyone out there, it's really to not abuse your children. Physical,
right.
emotional. There's so many different abuses that you don't even realize. I mean, you call them an idiot, you call them I mean, that is what they remember. They don't remember you baking cookies. They remember that one time you told them they were a loser, right?
That's it.
It's really sad, but that's what it's so unbelievable. And we hear it every day. I mean,
Every day. I can be out walking and I will hear someone, you know, yell or scream at their child, and I just, I just cringe.
I was at the beach once, and there was a woman who had her 2-year-old in a a playpen that was upside down on his head. Can you imagine?
Wow.
Like he's trying to it was like, and they kept slapping his hand. Mm-hmm. Think he's got issues?
Yeah. And there again, we have how many child molesters, and it's like how many of those child molesters that we want to condemn in today's society that were children. You know, why can't we find the compassion for that child in them that was abused and taught them, and that's how they ended up to be what they are now.
Well, I think it's really changing with our generation because
It
now
is.
it's in health books. My kids in school, they're learning about all the different abuses. We're more open about it. We talk about everything. Growing up for us, our parents were all pretty much abused, don't you think?
Right.
So they didn't know what else to do, so they repeat the pattern. And I think therapy, it's been Pluto and Scorpio most likely, is about therapy and psychology, and our generation really, pushed
where
it.
it's coming
I think
out.
so, yeah.
Yeah, because
maybe.
if you don't recognize that there's a problem, then you can't find a solution. In order to solve a problem, you have to identify it. And a big part is how you speak to your children. You know, how many of us said, I'm never going to grow up to be like my mother or my father, and then next thing you know, we are saying
Same thing.
and it's like, my oldest son, you act just like your mother, and it's,
I know. It's not possible.
No,
I know, especially when your kids tell you it. You're like, really? I did just what she would do?
That's the scary part. But there again, that's the identification. Oh, okay, well, let me be more aware of it. You know, that's a big part of.
Well, I've never hit my kids.
I had spanked mine when they were little, and that was about it.
And I've seen the difference. I mean, I've seen friends who hit their kids, and they hit.
Right.
The kids are hitting.
Right.
Everyone, everywhere. And then they're getting in trouble for hitting, and they're thinking, well, why am I in trouble? Because you hit.
Right.
You know,
but there again, the abuse isn't just
it's
the
not
physical.
hitting. No, it's verbal.
The mental, emotional abuse of a child is so much worse
Right.
than
Putting
the
them
physical.
down.
The physical heals.
Telling
Yeah.
them they're not good enough.
Right.
Why can't
You're
you
just
be like him?
your father.
Oh,
Your father is no darn good. You're acting just like your father. Well, wait a minute. What do you think that child's gonna, that child is half its father. So what makes you think that that child's gonna have a good, healthy relationship?
I was wondering earlier, I don't know, this just came to me, if, now I know from doing astrology that more and more psychic children are coming up, more and more sensitive children. But I think maybe they shouldn't have had so many back then because of the wars. Men were supposed to be strong, go to war, fight, and that's how they were raised. So imagine if you had all these watery, sensitive, emotional kids then. I mean, I guess there had to be a bunch.
Oh, there's
boys.
Yeah, there's
But I was
some.
wondering if that's, what the generational change is too. I don't know. I was just thinking that.
Yeah.
If it had anything to do with it.
Yeah. Oh, I want to tell you guys, my daughter made states. She's going to be swimming tomorrow in Orlando, Florida.
That's great.
So go, Shelby! Kick hard!
I did her chart just to see, and the sun will be exactly at the top of her
Really?
chart. So she's really going to be noticed. I mean, big time. She does well. I mean, she will. It's like being recognized. It's great.
I hope. I was talking to her. I had seen a movie the other night. I go to the library and get DVDs. So if you can't afford to go out and rent a movie, go to your local library.
You can do everything at your library. Go
That's
online.
it. I love libraries. But anyhow, it was called Peaceful Warrior, and Nick Nolte was in it, and it was about this athlete and the ego and had met this man and he had an accident, and 10 months later he ended up being strong enough to compete. He wanted to go for the gold. And Nick Nolte's character had said that the mind, how important the mind was, that you have to get all of the garbage out of your mind, that when you are competing, that it is in the moment. And how many of us aren't in the moment?
Right.
And I talked to my daughter last night. Well, I talked to her the other night.
Now, you ended up
I
seeing
talked to her
that
every
movie
day.
out of the blue, and that was like the
I just
perfect
picked
movie
it.
for her.
Yeah.
Oh, gee, just picked it.
Well,
Wasn't
she
psychically.
didn't get to see it, but I told her
No,
that
I
she
know,
should.
but that's
right.
all you needed to do.
That's
why
it.
you got that movie.
Right. But it was
love
so good.
synchronicity.
I love it. But it was so good for her because,
Yeah.
I asked her what she, thinks about when she's swimming. And, my youngest children don't live with me. My parents had adopted them. It's a really, really, really long story. And yes, I talk about things. Anyhow, I had asked her, and it's not exactly the greatest, because my mother brought me up, and well, we're not going to get into.
I know, but some things happen for a reason.
Right.
And you really have a good relationship with her
I have
now.
a
If you lived with her, it might
fantastic-
not be.
Oh, no.
I'm just saying, so there's
yeah,
a reason.
No, well, I wanted to have a daughter so we would have a relationship that my mother and I had never had, because we couldn't
Right.
my mother and I cannot sit down and talk like this.
Mm-hmm.
If we're talking about the weather, we can sit down and talk about the weather. But if we talk about, like if I sit down and talk about my children, forget it. There is no conversation. There's only a yelling and screaming.
Oh.
And that is how, she communicates.
Right.
Mother is always right. It doesn't matter what your point of view is. That's all there is. So it's, chaotic where she's growing up.
I'd like to see her chart.
Oh, I know.
Mommy dearest? Does
My
that come
brother
to-
named her. My brother named her. But it's, and not to put my mom down, because she's doing the best that she can. She just doesn't know that she doesn't know.
Right.
And that's a whole part of.
Right.
She doesn't want to admit that, I might be wrong.
Because that's probably how she was raised.
That's, you got
Exactly
it. She
it.
was
The
raised.
cycle
So how
continues.
can you condemn?
Right. 'Cause
They
they didn't get help. They didn't believe
No,
in therapy. They didn't
no.
have an idea. Nothing
Oh,
about
it's
it.
that
The
denial.
books that we have now. I mean, what did they have? Dr. Spock. That was what's his name?
Dr. Spock baby book. Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, but yeah, that was a big part with Shelby. When she's swimming, she doesn't concentrate on her stroke.
right.
She concentrates on, what's going on in her
Oh,
life.
so you really-
what had happened, what's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a, she's torn instead of, and that's how a lot of us live. We don't live in the moment. What's going on right now?
Right.
We think about, oh, what happened yesterday? Oh, how am I going to pay those bills tomorrow?
True. And you really manifest our thoughts. You really have to think
Fear,
positive.
false expectations appearing real. I mean, we visualize, oh my God, this is going to happen, and we create it.
Right. I mean, there was, what is that? Something about getting rich. I forgot. It was a tape from years ago in the 30s. And he said if you wrote down the amount of money you wanted to make by the end of the year and put it on the side of your bed and thought about it every night, it would happen. I mean, he's proved it over and over. I forgot his name, but I read it. I haven't done it, of course, but I've thought about it. No, you don't have to. You're just going to manifest it yourself.
I am.
Okay.
I'm going to fill up my, where's my...
Where's your camera?
Where's my camera? There we go. I am going to manifest a full jug by the end of this year.
A full jug. That's right.
I am. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna manifest my cup runneth over.
That's
but wealth isn't monetary.
No, I know.
I mean, I joke about about this. Oh, you didn't hear about this one yet? I had put an ad in the paper looking for a free or next to nothing cheap vehicle.
Mm-hmm. Because I remember that.
I got a call today.
Yeah?
And I'm going to pick up a vehicle tomorrow.
Wow.
And it's just my price.
Oh, good.
Free.
It's just your price.
Yeah, it's what I can afford. It's what I can afford.
I think everybody I know could afford that car.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm excited. He says it runs a little bit rough, but it's like, it has to be...
The gas has to be better than what you're doing with your big van.
Mm-hmm. It's a 4-cylinder, 5-speed.
Oh, good.
So,
that's great.
Yeah, a little truck. Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah.
30. Yeah.
Okay.
Counting down.
Oh, I didn't see. So, we have any pictures yet or no?
No, I guess they're not working.
Okay.
Carl, the pictures aren't working?
They'd rather look at us anyhow, right?
The pictures? Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, cool.
We're so busy yakking, we didn't notice, right?
Yeah, I had done a slideshow because I couldn't. Yes, I still have these hot flashes. You have to excuse me. So, what were we talking about? Oh, tell me more about Shelby. How will she do tomorrow?
Well, the thing I was saying is right now, the sun is in Scorpio, and she's got Scorpio right at her midheaven. So that's really, people that are born with the sun way at the top of their chart, they can never get away with anything, and they really shine. If they do something wrong, they get noticed. If they do something really great, they get noticed. Like sometimes you go, if you have the sun at the bottom of your chart, you can do everything in the world and maybe not get noticed. But so she just happens to have it transiting there tomorrow. Ooh. So if she does well, I mean, it'll be a big deal. Well, she'll really be noticed.
You know what I told her? I said, Shelby, if you do well tomorrow, you will have colleges looking at you.
Right.
That's almost going to guarantee you to get into a college. So.
She's got a really nice Jupiter, and it's been trined. This is a really good time for her. This is a really good year for her.
Cool. She's going to be happy to hear that.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't look at her whole chart. I just, printed it. But Jupiter at 9 Leo and Jupiter in Sag is trying that, stationed there. So that's a really good, for colleges too, because Jupiter rules higher education. So, and she's got it in her 7th house, so she'll always meet great people that will be beneficial to her. That's what it means.
Cool. She's one of those sensitive children.
Yeah.
She's a beautiful. Oh, wait a minute. Ooh, how do you like that one?
Wow.
You like that one?
Yeah. What is it?
That one's Bridal Veil Falls.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's it. Looking out from behind a waterfall. Yeah. So yeah, we're just gonna run the pictures and I hope that you guys like them. I love photography. So I don't know how they're going to come up because I just copied them and put them on the CD.
Too.
So,
do you know I took when we were out on the Blue Ridge Parkway and we missed the sunset.
Yeah.
But then I had my little camera wasn't working well, but I snapped one. It is like a painting.
Yeah.
I have it as my screen. It's
really?
So unbelievable.
The vibrant when we were down at Graveyard Fields.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, the trees and the leaves. I mean, it looks like
it was.
It looks like it was
then.
a finger painting. I mean, it just is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, but well,
It's
the colors
beautiful,
were
and I only
that
took
was
one or
peak.
two because it was getting dark. I
Uh-huh.
couldn't believe how great it came out.
Yeah.
So yours must have been wonderful because you had the right camera
My son.
and everything.
Yeah, Carl, you can bounce back and forth. I don't know if the people wanna watch them all. Yeah, they should be coming up behind us. Yeah, that was down in Florida. That was a storm. That was interesting on that one too.
Right there
Uh-oh,
behind now?
what's the data CD? Yeah. Oh, going back. Oh, yeah, you can. Oh well, whatever. We're gonna keep yakking. We're gonna get our stuff together one of these years. But
Oh, we
until
are.
then, hopefully you guys will turn in and see just what we're talking about. One of these days we'll have guests, but we're just gonna take it as it comes
We're
and,
gonna
and
start
enjoy
having
each
guests,
other.
yep.
Yeah.
After
yeah.
this film is over. Right?
Yeah, that's gonna be really interesting. That's next week.
Right.
Yeah, that's next week.
So you think your children are psychic?
My oldest son, 9779. He is
Nice birthday.
yeah, he's
Cody?
he's- yeah.
He's an Aries rising, just like you.
Oh.
He's got the moon in the 12th house, so right away that's psychic.
Oh. And then plus
There are,
979.
if you have your chart done too, there are more psychic charts also. But like somebody with a lot of water in their chart, which is Pisces, Scorpio, and where Cancer, and what else? Anybody with a lot of water. So if you had a lot of Capricorn in your chart that's so earthy and grounded and practical, it's hard to be psychic. Even though if you are psychic, a lot of times you ignore it. So.
You want us to move this, Carl? Move the mics?
No, just show me the picture.
Oh, he's gonna.
Oh,
he's
are?
gonna. Oh,
What
cool.
are you
He's
show
gonna
your
zoom
son's
in on the
chart?
on the chart.
Oh, you didn't have to do that because we
Hold there for a second and talk about it.
oh. We're gonna talk about it. Oh, that was. We
Oh,
didn't
cool.
really plan on that,
Oh, there we
but-
go. See here. Can you?
see?
Yeah. See your angle.
Oh, wait. Oh, there. I'm on that
Or
camera.
is it that? Oh, yeah. There
Okay.
you go.
Ooh, this is better. There I am.
Yeah, that's an astrological chart. Tell them
Right,
about
we
an
were-
astrological chart.
Well, we talked about the charts one day in case you missed the show, but this is her son's chart that she believes is psychic. So I did his chart just to see, and just having the moon in the 12th house. The 12th house is like a water Pisces house. So his moon is there emotionally, his memories, everything is 12th house, hidden, secretive, and psychic. So a lot of people just knowing that, seeing that, they have some sort of abilities because it's like a moon in Pisces.
Oh, I
So that alone just says that.
Yeah. yeah. He's got a lot of stuff.
He's got Mars in Cancer also, so that's watery Mars. His energy is in Cancer. I mean, so what else? I would think though he's got Sun Saturn, which is probably his dad was a disciplinarian or kind of tough, was he, or really hard on him?
Dad's an active alcoholic.
Oh. Well, because Sun Saturn, he's really restricting himself.
Right.
He has a little bit hard self-esteem, or, his ego is his sun, and Saturn kind of restricts it and says, he's got to really feels like he has to work hard to ever really feel
Right.
good about himself. So that's how
Right.
he saw his dad, or his dad had to be hard on him. It was something about
Well,
Sun Saturn.
there again. We're talking about the parents.
Oh,
the
yeah.
sins of the father passed down. So it's like the sins of the father passed down. The sins of the father passed down. So it's like,
Right.
And
he
his
has
dad
Venus
was
with Saturn also,
pretty
which
was
is
strict.
Venus Saturn is low self-esteem. I mean, somebody who feels, Saturn restricts things. Venus is what you love and feeling good and feeling appreciated. And having Saturn there says, I don't feel so loved and appreciated.
Right.
But he'd have to work. If he worked, he'd feel better. I would imagine it would get better with age.
Well, hopefully, but there
Does he
again.
Does he have a low self-esteem?
Well, that disease within, he's active, sins of the father passed down.
Right.
So he hasn't come into his own yet either. And there again, I understand with my abilities, and I know how long it took me to open up as to, I'm a little bit different.
Right.
So yes, when talking about with him also,
Right.
there's I'm different.
Right. Oh, yeah, and then you want to hide it. You feel weird. You feel first of all, the moon in the 12th house, he has a hard time expressing his feelings or knowing how he feels as it is. So that's complicated. He has the planet Jupiter, which is where you expand and overdo, in his 5th house. 5th house is where you play. He has it in the sign Leo, which is play to an extreme, because Jupiter loves to overdo things. And having in a sign like Leo, I mean, it would be an amazing creative person, or a really big gambler, or, there's a few things. We have the energies. So this is how we were talking about today. You can do the positive of your chart.
Right.
Or you can do the real negative. And a lot of times people start off negative and then they find the positive,
Right. Right. Well, we've had to come a hard, long road
and
in
a lot
order
of
to get where we're at.
People that hit rock bottom are the most wonderful healers now, because they've been there.
Because we've been there.
Right.
That's
Been there,
it.
done that.
Yeah, we've been there, and now we can share our experience, strength, and hope in order to save someone else from going through the same thing. So that's what's really important about how you speak to your children.
It sure
It's like, because hey, I'm going to tell you, I'm guilty as in, calling their dad every name in the book because, I didn't understand that disease part of. I just thought that he was a bad person. And it's like now trying to explain, your father is a sick person.
Right.
It's not that he's bad. Yes, okay, he does bad things,
Right.
but, he suffers from a fatal disease. How can I hate him
Right.
for
being sick? And then
Right.
another thing with, like you were saying, is when you tell a child, especially if you get divorced, that their dad's bad, they're half of their dad. So they see themselves as half bad. We were
Right.
talking about that. So you saying, oh, your father's lousy or your mother's, crap.
Right.
Then they're thinking, well, then I must be. That's what kids say.
Right.
And they did say if you did do it wrong, like you're saying you did do it wrong, you can fix it. I mean, now
Right.
you can sit down with him and say, I really made a mistake.
Oh yeah, no, I have.
Even if you got divorced in an ugly, ugly way. I mean, they had that on Oprah too one day.
Really?
I've been watching all the help ones, but all about divorce and how many parents handle it wrong and how they rip the
Right.
kids apart.
Yeah.
And
that you have to choose, and if you choose the wrong one, then you don't love me, you love him more, and oh my gosh.
And even putting the kids in the middle, or
Right.
and it's
Right.
really, they take it all. Kids only see themselves as responsible. So I mean, I had a mom who's shoplifted since I'm 7 years old. I mean, as far as I remember knowing that far back, and I had no idea till I was in therapy how much I blamed myself, because I thought she's stealing mostly for me or my brothers. So if I weren't here, she wouldn't be stealing. Or food, she'd take food. But it really wasn't that. Nobody had money. My mother chose to be a shoplifter. So it's fascinating how I had no idea till I was in therapy, and that I really blame myself. And this was only years ago that I realized. I mean, I always knew it was not a good thing that she was
Right.
doing it, but I didn't know I was blaming myself for it. And even the one time I saw her get caught and arrested, I went back to this. Did you ever hear a therapy called EMDR? They put headphones on it's one way of doing it. They put headphones on and beeps trigger your memories and things just come out. You're back in that spot. They don't even know how it works. They use it on newborns. They use it on everybody. And they trigger memories. And I was actually in the store. I'm talking about it and I don't remember it, right now talking to you. I would not have remembered this story, but it just came up with these headphones on. And I actually remembered her about to and I saw her because she was oblivious, and I was so in tune with everything going on, and I saw them coming to get her, and I wanted to warn her, and I really blame myself that she got caught, and I found this out in my 40s, that I was blaming myself when she got arrested. And then as an adult, you have to go back over it and say how ridiculous and let it go.
Oh, that's a big part
But
of.
the reason we're talking about this is children really blaming themselves for all of their parents' mistakes.
And then we get to be adults, and unless we go back and forgive that child in us,
Right.
For being a
Right.
child, we're carrying all this baggage.
Yeah.
We have a whole lot of baggage on our backs.
And like you said, you were a little mean to your children.
Oh no, I wasn't mean.
Would you say you were? Or just yelling at them about their
my
father and
father. I would call their father.
Oh.
Oh,
bad
an
things.
SOB.
Because that's what you heard.
Right.
Right.
Your father, scum of the earth.
So
And
you're
I
lucky-
still hear my dad calling my husband that.
I know, but you're lucky you didn't turn into your mother and tell them how good for nothing they were.
Oh no. Oh
She
no.
did
Because
that,
I love
right?
my children. Oh yeah.
I know. See, I'm saying because I shoplifted. I mean, obviously, I'm raised shoplifting. I ended up doing it too. And not that I'm blaming her. As an adult, I realized, okay, done. Once I got caught, that was it. I never did it
Right,
again.
right.
But you repeat the patterns.
That's it. That's it.
And they
Children
really-
learn what they live. I
So-
mean,
right.
it's so important.
So many people think they're oblivious. And they have no idea. I've seen so many women who do steal or stick something in the kid's little stroller and think they had no idea. I'm like, kids are so aware, especially nowadays, probably even more so, because they're so in tune.
They are.
They're
They
aware
are.
of every little thing around them. I mean, it's funny, now I have a relationship with my daughter who's 11, who I could say something and mean it, think it in a different way, and she knows exactly how I meant it and what I'm saying. And she'll say it to me. She goes, you didn't mean it that night. And I'm like, oh my God, how did she know? I can't believe she know. And I love that she says that. And I'll tell her, you were really right. I really didn't want to do that, but I was acting like I did, but I was playing, and she clued right in to the whole thing. It came right out with it.
Because they can feel.
Yeah.
They can sense.
But I think we were afraid to say anything. But now, I mean, I let them. I'm glad that she can tell me, and I'll say, yeah, you're right.
Oh yeah, my daughter and I have a fantastic, relationship. I mean, we talk. We can talk about anything,
Right.
And that is the great part, because I could never talk to my mom. I mean, when it came to sex, it was like, okay, here's a book. If you have any questions, ask me. And that's how I learned about sex.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, now, thank goodness, they're really teaching kids in school.
Yeah, but
A lot.
is it school?
No, but I'm saying
that
at least
should-
they're. Well, no, I mean back then. I mean, I know my mom got her.
any kind of.
When she got her period, she didn't know. She thought she was bleeding to death and dying. She hid under the bed. That's. I mean, now at least, thank goodness. I mean, we talk
Right.
to our kids, but the
Yeah.
schools do too.
Right.
They have an idea about what's going on, right?
Oh yeah, that's what's really important, and it's like, if you have a child or you are just a child of, you really need to let go of your past in order to move on. There's a lot of hurt, a lot of pain that we have gone through, and go back and go through it. There again, it's like our birth charts, and we choose, these are our lessons in life. So
Right.
how do you choose to see it? Do you choose to see it as, oh, I'm the victim?
right.
Whereas a lot of people are, that's how they,
Right.
oh, I'm the victim, I'm the victim, I'm the
Right.
victim. Well, get over it,
Right.
You're going to continue to be a victim as long as you
Exactly.
play the victim.
Well, I always tell my mom that. I always say to her, as long as you're the victim, you're going to find somebody to take advantage of you and abuse you. And she does. She plays that role. It doesn't matter if it's who it is.
Right.
I mean,
I
if
have
it's
a couple
somebody
of,
she works with,
yeah.
or this one or that one, she's always the victim.
always the victim.
She's played the victim role. I mean, she had to steal, like, hello, half the world didn't have money. Just, she's bipolar, so that it doesn't take medicine, so she's got an excuse now.
Yeah.
But
is that a good excuse?
No,
I mean,
but it's
is
also,
that-
she's still a victim. Like,
Right.
there's help for bipolar.
Right.
But
right.
no, there's nothing wrong with her.
Denial. That's a big part of. And it's like, do you want to be happy in life, or do you want to keep being the victim?
Right.
I mean, it's your choice. You're the one who's going to have to decide.
And I say it to her. I always say it. I go, well, keep playing the victim.
I can't even talk to my
You'll
mother.
find an abuser. But I don't believe me. She's on another planet, not even
Yeah.
listen. She doesn't want to hear that. She wants to call and this happened, who did this? And I just say, keep playing the victim. Keep playing. I don't want to
Oh,
hear
is that
your
how
crap.
you? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I always go up. I've heard this before. Up 7 years, same story. Up different person, same story. Up. And
Yeah.
then, as Dr. Phil would say, is it working for you? I know. He's lying, and she still doesn't matter. Calls me,
Yeah.
the same thing.
Really?
Talks for an hour about all her problems.
Yeah. Well, at least
Woe
your
is
mother
me.
calls you.
No, she never asks me how I am. What's new? How are your children? Nothing, ever. But it's
Yeah.
always about
It's
her
always
problems.
about-
Yeah, so what's that?
Same thing.
Yeah,
Same thing
it's
over and
either,
over.
okay, yours yells, mine just whines.
Yeah. Well, mine yells and hangs up. Mine screams, and then I might say something, and it's like click,
But I truly have forgiven. That's a big part of it.
Oh,
it's not,
you
it's,
have to.
They were
And-
raised by alcoholics.
Yeah.
They have their things. And, we can only hopefully wish that they would get help to live a better life.
Yeah,
But
yeah. One of those pictures that I had, it has forgiveness is sweet victory.
it sure is. You can't even begin to heal unless you forgive.
That's it. That's it. And we have to
can't.
forgive ourselves first. That's
And get
a
rid
big,
of the
big
anger.
part of
Right. Mm-hmm. Oh, I
Yeah.
did. I mean, it took a lot because
Yeah.
I still get annoyed when she calls. I'm thinking, how about asking about me just one day? But she's not well.
Right. And
You
that's
have
how
to
we
just
have
keep
to.
saying,
And that's how
"You're
we
just
have
not
to.
well.
Right. Right.
I'm glad I'm not her. Thank you,
And
Lord.
there's a lot of people who are not well, who are sick, but because of the stigma attached to, where do they go to get help? You know, there's a lot of people who had been molested as a
right.
child. You know, I had told you the story about, you know, I had explained to my mom, you know, being raped when I was 13, and I had emailed her, you know, a lot of the, you know, okay, Mom, this is the way I am, or why I am the way that I am. And then talking with my son on the phone, and she yells in the background, ask your mother who raped her when she was 13. And I was like, you know, devastated. You know, it's like,
She says that to your son, and that's how she responded to you telling her?
Right. And it's like, well, why do you think I didn't tell you when I was 13? You know? Yeah.
But you know what? I mean, I had to do that with my mom, confront her about it, because she thought she was the perfect mother. And I said, "Gee, I just want you to know how much your shoplifting affected me." And just saying that, like for you, didn't it just feel good getting it out? Even if they
Right,
don't
well,
validate you or
why-
say anything.
That's it. That's why it's like, okay, Mom, here's the truth.
Right,
You know, I
so-
hope you can
right.
handle it. And it's like, no, that denial, the big denial.
Right.
And it's like, you know, we, you know, in society today, there's a whole lot of skeletons in all of our closets.
Of course. Sure
And unless you know, open up that door and get them out, because there's a lot of support groups, a lot of support groups that you can go to. Are there any for child molesters? You know, it's like that keeps coming up.
Well, it's funny
my
though.
mind.
Halloween night, supposedly they had all the abusers have to go to a room. Did you see that on the
No,
news?
I had
They
seen
made
that
them
had-
not. They weren't allowed to be home. They weren't allowed to be out Halloween night. They all had to be, you know, in this room wherever in town.
And it's like,
Which is-
let's condemn them even more instead of, you know,
I know.
where
Well, you
can
know what?
they go?
They should have maybe had a part, you know, some sort of made them feel good about themselves.
Counseling.
Well, counseling would have been a great idea.
Yeah.
I was thinking of a movie or a little social for them, not
Well,
to
a
say
social,
sit
but
here
it's
and
like-
pun. I mean, at least, I mean, you're not putting them on the street where they are
Right.
tempted.
Right. I agree with that. But it's like, you know,
But don't
where
put- right.
is that child in them? You know, why
Right.
make them feel even less than they do?
You know, that was a good idea. You know, whoever did do that, why didn't you guys let them watch a movie that night or, you know, have a little social, a dance of their own, invite a date? You know, they weren't allowed on the streets. That was great. We understand that.
But then the stigma attached to, because we look at the adult as being so bad instead of the child, you know, that wounded child in them. How can we heal that wounded child in them?
Right.
You know, how can they use their experience to be an example to somebody else?
Well, they have to want to get help.
True, but where can they go?
There must be.
Where?
I don't know. I just moved here.
But is there?
That's my excuse.
You know,
No.
it's like, does anybody know of where can they go? You know, I mean, they're
Well, therapy's so expensive unless you have insurance.
right. But it's like, okay,
It must be part of their probation. don't you think?
I'm a recovered alcoholic, and I'll tell you what, I learned a whole lot by being in a support group
Right.
of other alcoholics
Right.
in order to, you know, go through. And then with the 12 steps where I had to get out those
Right.
deep dark secrets in order to understand, oh, okay,
Right.
now I understand, because I had to go all the way back into my childhood and get rid of all
Right.
those skeletons in order to feel better.
Right.
There has to be some type of counseling for them, because if nothing changes, nothing changes. You know, history's going to repeat itself, and we're going to have even more than. Cool. Carl's giving us the
Thumbs
countdown.
Up.
Yeah.
Countdown.
time has flown, hasn't
I
it?
know. I hope it did for the audience. Did it
Yeah,
fly by? That's
hopefully,
a good sign
yeah.
if you're not dragging going, good Lord, what are they going to talk about next? No.
Next week we're going to be talking about the film industry.
Right.
We're going to
TV, being on TV.
being
getting
on TV, what's behind the scenes in TV.
Right.
Hopefully we will have somebody, one or two, stop by, but if not, yeah, okay, so maybe
But we're
we'll
going to work
entertain
on
you
that,
again.
having a star stop in.
Yeah, yeah.
Somebody
I mean, you
who's
just
been
never
on
know.
TV, been on a show. One of my neighbors was on All My Children. I'm going to try to get him to come down
Yeah.
and talk about it. He's got all these ads and stuff he's on.
Oh, really? He was
interesting.
on ads too?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Did
It's
commercials
funny.
and
Yeah.
things like that?
Uh-huh.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they're neat. So
Yeah.
hopefully he'll come down too.
So it's going to be
and
a
talk about
less
it.
of a serious
Yeah.
topic next week,
Right.
Because this is something that you know, I was led to put this out, and you know, children, you know, are you know, I love children, you know, I thoroughly love my children and other children, and you know, not having them. I do believe that I am meant for a greater higher in order to help others. You know, what I couldn't do living on that little old farm.
Oh, gee.
I know.
Where was the farm?
Anywhere in the mountains. Anywhere. I love animals. So I'm you know, happy in the farm. The child just knows something intuitively about a person, place, or situation, which then turns out to be correct. Child affects...
Oh, we're back to her list, in
Yeah.
case you're thrown. She's a Pisces, so she tends
Yeah, I
to...
bounce back and
I have
forth.
to pull her in every now and
The
then.
child affects certain electrical appliances repeatedly by his or her presence, by the TV changing channels, radio going on, wristwatch
You know,
not
that show
working.
Heroes has that on.
Right, right,
You see
and
that?
that's and no, or maybe I saw it once.
Do you know how many
but that's a
shows are
part
out
of
now? I
that
mean-
are so real?
Psychics,
That is so real.
everything. Well, it's about where we're opening up now. This
We
is
are opening
why.
up.
I'm going to tell you why. Because in astrology, the planet Uranus is in Pisces, so the
Mm-hmm.
veil is getting thinner, and it's uncovering all the secrets.
Right.
Over these last 12, I think it's 12 years it's there, 14 maybe. So it's already halfway there. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why people are more open to this, more psychic stuff's coming up, all the
Mm-hmm.
mediums are out. I think we talked about that once. So tell us more.
Yeah, we had talked about it a little bit. Let's see, has been observed to at least once levitate. Child engages actions, rituals, ceremonies of their own design, which are intended to impart healing to a person, animal, plant.
So what should a person do if they notice that their child's special?
To understand that their child is a special being. You can go to Dr. Boylan. Oh, here we go. The child is misunderstood by the school system, mislabeled attention deficit disorder or learning disability because she is bored, under-challenged, or put off by the normal children's learning place, or mislabeled hyperactivity disorder because of the fidgetiness
Right.
in the classroom out of boredom, or because their thoughts directed in more challenging subjects, or because the child is highly focused on a topic of interest and perseveres much longer than is considered normal, or mislabeled learning disabled because sees points out connections between the subject being taught and other subjects.
Okay.
Wow.
I just think this is a big point. I think that everybody who does have a child out there who's having these problems should not be stuck in what they think is in tradition. They really should try to work with their child instead of saying,
for
you know what, you
sure.
have to go to school and this is just what you're supposed to do. So
Right.
school is not for everybody.
No.
I mean, I'm talking about homeschooling. There's computer schooling. There's smaller schools like this Rainbow School. You really have to start working with them because they are different.
Right.
And I have one that's like that, and I did, and thank God I did, because I had so many people saying, "Just get him back in school, just get him back in school," like beating me up about it, and I just had to go with my gut on this, and no, he's so much happier, not having to go through that,
Yeah. Yeah.
and there's a reason.
Oh, that's it. So if you did not have a great childhood, okay, then remember.
Right, when you're doing it to your child,
That's
to
it.
stop it.
That's it.
Break the pattern,
That's it. And we've had a great
the
time
cycle.
again.
Yeah, it was great. Next week, we're going to do movie stars.
That's it. So I hope that you guys will stop back and see us again
And we'll
sometime.
Bye.